Hello, it's me, and I've got a very, exciting unboxing for you today. Exciting from my standpoint because it represents the culmination of a lot of time and work. Mostly work on the designer's part, but time in terms of my part. So I'm going to answer the question that I pose: what are my favorite kinds of puzzles? You've seen me demonstrate a lot of different types of puzzles, from cuboids, ultimate shapeshifters, to ghost puzzles, to fascinating 3D printed puzzles. What I have in here is an example of one of the two of my favorite kind of puzzles, and this represents the pentultimate, not the pentultimate puzzle, because there's one of those too, but the pentultimate version of one of the two kinds that I really enjoy. And that gets me closer to what I'm looking for to actually complete my, my next collection puzzle series that people have been asking for. So this gets me one step closer. So there's two kinds of puzzles that I like the most. This one represents the ultimate version of one of them. So can you decide, or can you predict exactly which one that is? Well, let's go back a little bit. Early on when I was collecting puzzles, collecting Rubik's Cubes, there was one kind that had a fascination for me. And it all started with a 3D printed version of this puzzle, but that's not what this is. This isn't the 3D printed version. This is a mass-produced version of a circle puzzle. For some reason, it compelled me because not only did it function as a Rubik's Cube, but you had these centers in here that didn't move. And as you scrambled it, these stayed stationary. And for some reason that was very compelling to me, that there should be a puzzle that can do that. And I think it had to do with the fact that I always figured these puzzles to be masters of engineering, master feats of engineering, in addition to having a puzzle, something that you can actually solve. So I thought that it was a fascinating piece of engineering that they can design a puzzle that actually had stationary centers. Now, the solve of the puzzle is also interesting because it represents a way of having the entire puzzle revealed to you, including all the inner portions. So when you look at a circle puzzle like this, a 3x3, what appears to be the center is not the center. So this is not the center of this side. This whole thing moving here, everything that moves here represents the side. This represents sort of like a 1x1 inside of that. The actual centers of the side is not this, it's this, 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 and this. And collectively, these four pieces never leave each other. They're always in the same configuration. So they actually represent four colors of one center. So what's fascinating about this is to solve it. You solve it as these are your centers. These four pieces together represent one center of this side. This is the edge, this is the edge, this is the edge, and these are the corners. What's inside here is simply really kind of like a fractured 1x1. And that's how you solve it. So I just thought that was fascinating. So much so, let's move this down here, so much so that I wanted to get others in the series. So I actually found myself a 2x2 version of it, which you can actually pick up at Grig's shop. Anyway, so this is interesting because three of them have stationary circles. This one, and I believe, oh, not that one, and this one, and three of them do not. Very challenging kind of a solve. It functions as a 2x2, but with this inner puzzle that's in addition to that. So there's this. I'll put that over here. Then they mass-produced this guy over here, which is the 4x4. So the 4x4 was even more fun because it carried all the parodies that a 4x4 has, and it still had the same fascinating non-movable circles in here. So too, this represents two puzzles in one, because what you actually get is this is actually not the center of this side. This represents a 2x2. So you do a 2x2 solve, and then after that you've got the 4x4 surrounding it, and the actual centers are these pieces. So these two never leave each other. These never leave each other. They're actually the same piece. So collectively, these guys represent the center of this side. And because you have different colors, it's actually a supercube. So you solve these centers, you solve the corners after solving the 2x2. So it represents kind of a two puzzle in one, a real 4x4, so to speak, where you have where you have the inner 2x2 inside the outer 4x4, which I thought was just brilliant. I really fascinated with that. Then Karl Hoff came along and did something incredibly brilliant. He created a 5x5 version, the real 5x5. He called it the real 5x5 because this is where I first learned about the fact that this is two puzzles in one. It's actually the inner puzzle inside the outer puzzle. And he designed a way to have a double circle. I just like the fact that it was a double circle, but I was even more interested to find out that this represented all the different components of a 5x5 that was inside brought to the outside. So you've got the inner circle here that doesn't move, but in addition you've got the outer circle rather, you've got the inner circle that also moves independently, which I thought was fascinating. I just thought it looked so incredibly cool. But in reality what this is you have a 1x1, which is these pieces here, surrounded by a 3x3, of which these are the edges and these are the corners, surrounded by a 5x5, of which these are the centers here. You've got the corners. Here. You've got the edges here. You've got the centers here. You've got the corners here. So what you have is you have really 3 puzzles in one, 2 of which are solvable. A 3x3 inside a 5x5 with the ability to scramble with these multiple circles. So to me, I thought that this represented the pinnacle of what I could expect. And this part of my collection, the most important part, which is among the 2 types of puzzles that I exalt the most, I haven't mentioned the second type, but there is this type, the circle puzzles have always played a huge role in my fascination with these puzzles. And anytime I want to show somebody the complexity of why I collect these, I just pull a puzzle like this out and say, how can you not be fascinated with something like this? Well, it got me to thinking, if we have a real 5x5, could we maybe go even higher than that? And that is what's leading to the unboxing today. So this is from Carl Hoff, and this project started, I think, about in 2017. So it's been over 3 years in the making, designing of it, trying to make it happen, and what I wanted to do was make sure that I could sponsor such a project, leading to what I am very happy to show. And the good news is, something like this might become available to everybody. So we've got a box within a box, and I'll tell you, this is the culmination of years of preparation, of design, none of which was by me, but by Carl Hoff. So this represents kind of the pinnacle, I think, in what a brilliant puzzle designer can do. All right. So what we have within all of these styrofoam coverings is we have a metal box. Let's make sure there's something else in here. So this was just to make sure that we could transport this well, which is nice because I can travel with this, and with that traveling I can make sure that it's traveled in a safe way. I don't have to worry about stickers coming off. Anyway, without any further ado, the first puzzle is figuring out how to open this. Oh, that wasn't so hard. Okay, so I am in absolute awe right now. So this is, as you may have guessed, a real 6x6. And that was a question that I had. Can you design a 6x6 version? And what you're going to see with a puzzle like this as to why this is the pentultimate of creation in terms of puzzles. So, like I say, there's 2 types of puzzles I exalt the most. This is one of them. And this, to me, represents the ultimate in creation of what you can make with this kind of a concept. So what you see is you see 2 circles. Now what's interesting is they have a supercube sticker formation, but I don't know that you need that. As a matter of fact, without the supercube sticker, I'm just wondering if you can get something more of the parodies that you're going to get with the 6x6. Well, let's try a couple of movements here. All right. Now one thing about the 5x5 is it had kind of a catch look to it. So it moves very well. No problems there. But as you go deeper in the layers, you can hear that kind of a catch. I never thought that there was a problem with the stability of the puzzle, but it always made me cringe a little bit when I'd have to pull it through there. So far, no such problems. So you can see it moves really, really well. Absolutely amazing. These aren't stickers, they're tiles, so they're not going to come off. So let's try the second layer here. Let's move the second layer independently. So with this second layer, you can see that the inner circle is starting to move. And there's no popping sound at all. It's incredibly smooth. You can actually move it with one finger. Here's the deepest layer right here. Same thing. This is just astounding to me. It's absolutely incredible. It looks and feels so solid. Let's try this over here. What I'm trying to do is see if I can't get this inner circle. Okay, so we got two circles here. If I move this middle layer here, you can see this inner circle is moving here. If I move the next layer up here, you can see this outer circle is moving here. And then of course I can move the circle around it too. So the separation, there we go. The ability to move this by itself, it's a little difficult. There we go. Actually it's not difficult at all. So you can see the outer circle moving independently. Here you can see the inner circle moving independently. Okay, let's try over here. Perfect. If they can mass produce this or make a version of this that anybody can afford, that would be great. So this is SLS 3D printing. It's so solid here. It's so almost plastic feeling. Just the look of it looks like it's at the next stage. Now I wouldn't mind if the stickers were not super cute because I kind of exalt the parody. I want every aspect of a 6x6. But you can see inside of here we have a 2x2, just like this version over here. So this would be solved as a 2x2. And if I were to scramble it as such, that's what you'd see. The movement is excellent. Okay, before I do a full scramble of this, let's see if I can't define some of the features here. So this would be the 4x4. I'm sorry, the 2x2. This is a 2x2 center. The 4x4, well, would be up here. So I suppose these would be the centers here. These two would be attached, so to speak. So these are centers of the 4x4. And then corners of the 4x4 would be, I suppose, these guys over here. So centers, this is the center of another side, and these are corners. But the 6x6 version would be here. So the centers of the 6x6, well, this would be the edges of the 6x6. This would be centers, would be perhaps here and here. Well, I'm going to have to look at it. I'm going to have to study it. Let's do a checkerboard pattern here. Like I say, this looks like a totally different breed. The care that was taken into making this kind of puzzle, so professionally made. Movement is absolutely perfect. And 1, 2. I gotta be careful. I don't want to scramble it quite yet. I'm going to move this here. 1, 2, 1, 2. So there's no catching with this puzzle. What Carl Hoff has made is the ultimate version of one of my ultimate favorite kinds of puzzles. Let's see if we can't put this back here. Before I get myself into trouble, now we'll just kind of watch what happens with these circles here with each turn. So this is just the outer here. We've got the middle circle and the inner circle. And turn, turn. And finally here, double turn here. Double turn here. There isn't even any alignment issues. Double turn here. And finally here and here. Now, to solve the puzzle, the solve experience wouldn't be too much different than a very challenging perspective bending 6x6 on top of a 2x2 on top of a 4x4. But just to watch it move, whether it's scrambled or not, and the complexities that happen with that is it's just mind-blowing to me. All right, so there it is. Let me just take a look at it from the perspective of its place in the collection. You can see how next level it is. It's like you reach a point of complexity where you can tell that it's reached sort of a next level in how it looks and how it functions. Okay, can this balance on a stand? Well, let's see. Yeah, I'll be darned, it can. Okay. So there it is. I may have to get a custom-made stand for this, although it seems pretty stable. So there it is. I'm very proud to reveal the full family of one of my favorite kinds of puzzles that are out there. And with this completes a key component of my collection. To see something like this represents the pinnacle of that. All I need to do is to collect one final pinnacle of my second kind of puzzle, and in my mind my collection will be as complete as it needs to be. We come to the real 6x6, a fascinating bit of ingenuity between brilliance of design and concept, which I'm very proud to have been a part of bringing this into the world. The real 6x6, the double circle real 6x6 by Carl Hoff, which is an amazing testament to ingenuity. It's definitely like a whole new species of puzzle. So I thank Carl for all your work and all your efforts, and I thank you for watching.